Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the RIN. Let me get me on the main screen. Got Tim over there a little early, but hey, we thank you guys for being here. This is episode number 56, and we're here with some super exciting news. You guys, if you don't know, we have launched our own marketplace, one stop shop. We actually have one of the representatives from district that's here with us. Our guy Ivan's going to be hanging out with us today and talking about some of his story and the new platform that we're a part of. So we're so stoked to have that go down. So you guys don't want to miss the rest of the show. You want to stick around and hear the ins and outs. But before we get into that, we do thank all you guys that are channel members and those of you guys that have left comments in the previous weeks. I did want to touch on a couple comments, and then we will dive right in. First up, we do want to thank all you guys that wished us a happy Thanksgiving. Obviously, last week we talked about how thankful we were for the reselling community, for each other, and obviously life and family and faith and all the stuff that we talked about last week. Nova Scotia Ancelet. Yeah, I know, right? I had to double check that one. Said, who knew Leroy was going to get me teary-eyed? Great show, guys. Randy. It's easier to call him Randy than Nova Scotia Lancelot. But then also Vintage Sports Flip says, hope all you gentlemen had a great Thanksgiving. Looking forward to the one-stop shop marathon. That did happen. We will be talking about that. Kathleen, the Fernway Flipper, says, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thank you for the reselling tips. Even more for your witness. We are all so imperfect and loved anyway. Thank you for being real. New England Betty Boop, super shout out to Lisette. We do thank you very much. And she said that channel membership, though, is fire. So we do thank you guys for being there always. And let's see. I think Lisa Durr had one more comment. Says, I'm going to have to listen to this one again. Prepping items while listening. There's so many great points in this video. Great ideas for reselling and life in check. Thank you very much for keeping it real. We're going to go ahead and jump on over here and get Tim into the picture and give a little shout out on the channel memberships.
Thank you to our channel members, AZ Katsu, Simply, Shenanigan Shanna, Diane Matthews, our very own Blood, Sweat, and Cell, Trash Cat Rescue, New England, Betty Boop, Joe Deals, Old School Picker, Vintage Sport Flips, Charities, Terrific Finds, Kathleen, the Fernway Flipper, Ohio Pickers, Annette and Frank, Rudely Retro, Absolute Finds, Des Hardy, Heather Peddler, James Steinbreaker, Old Pass, High Plains Flipper, Walter Tilton, Black Sheep Society, Death Pile Picker, and Mr. Mark Rowland.
Hey, we are so appreciative to each and every one of you guys that are channel members. If you'd like to be a part of that, we do thank you so much for all you guys that support us and allow us to do what we do over here and keep things moving along. So we're going to go ahead and take time and go ahead and jump into a little 101 with our guest today, Ivan. So when we think about 101, we normally are talking about 101, the beginnings of reseller. We know that you kind of have your start, came about a little different way. How about giving us a little backstory on Ivan?
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much for having me, guys. First off, it's an honor to be on your show. So my name is Ivan. I'm a kid from Nebraska who moved to Los Angeles after college to pursue his dream of making film and television. So interestingly enough, as a kid, I was a big collector. And then we all go through that phase. We're in high school, we have a car, we're driving, doing sports. Went off to college, got into theater and performing, and lived in my car for a while in Chicago and in LA. So not a lot of room for collecting when you're living in your Toyota Corolla. Maybe if you have an RV, you can, but not so much in a Corolla at 23. Well, so fast forward a few years, and I actually got settled, and my wife and I moved into a new apartment in 2011. And during 3 or 4 years in LA, when it was like a new apartment every 6 months or every year, I'd acquired a few random packs of cards. And I'd collected as a kid and I'd had these cards. Well, finally, we moved into this one apartment, and I was like, I think we're going to be here for a while. And there was more space than I'd ever had. So there was one closet that I was like, I can actually put these cards in this closet. And I started sorting through them, and it all hit me, all the nostalgia, all the fun of collecting as a kid. So I started collecting again, very dedicatedly. And being in entertainment, I noticed after a few years of this, there was nobody making content at that time around collecting. And so I actually got together with some buddies and we filmed a web series, and it was called The Breaks, which is why my name is Watch the Breaks, because back in 2013, that was the only Twitter handle you could get around The Breaks. And we filmed a little comedy web series, just me being stupid, waiting on cards, messing up a relationship because cards were more important. Well, I got very lucky. Beckett Magazine actually did a write-up on that. I was very active on Twitter and sports card communities, and I just kept talking and kept growing until today. I've actually got almost 50,000 followers on Twitter, and very specifically, though, in the sports card world. And yeah, so I still talk sports cards all the time, even though my day job is now at District, managing communities there. But that's where I came from, is this little kid from Nebraska who collects sports cards and made a really dumb, fun YouTube series. And now I get to do sports cards full time.
How many episodes?
10 episodes. So if you search for nowadays with SEO and how long ago it was, you probably have to search for Ivan the Breaks to actually find it on YouTube. But yeah, you can go watch them. We had a rolling gimmick where every episode he lost a new girlfriend based on something having to do with cardboard. And actually, as I say that, I'm realizing I missed probably the best one. Like, the cardboard was never a fake girlfriend. We need to do a bow episode, wrap a bow on this.
Oh yeah.
So what changed where what was the move from, doing that into the next step?
So you mean like my current role?
Well, not even just your current role, but just like what did you do after the web series? Like what was in between web series and like District?
So yeah, that's a great question. So for me, I got Twitter. I naturally gravitated towards Twitter because Twitter to me is the most community centric. I know it has a reputation for being toxic, but if you're focused in on a community, it can be really awesome. Like, I don't know how regular people tweet. Like, how do you do it with all? I don't care about any of that.
There's no regular people Twitter here right now, so I don't think any of us can answer that question.
Great point, Tim. But Twitter is like old message boards, but more open and broader, and also easier for me to sort. Like message board threads, I would get lost trying to find what I needed. So I naturally gravitated there. And at the time, it was very much just a platform that rewarded talking and talking back. One huge principle my mom taught me. I'm old enough that my mom taught me this. If you want to get a letter, you have to write a letter. So a lot of people go onto the social platforms, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, and they post their stuff. Look at me. And it's all about finding other people's stuff and telling them how cool it is or asking questions about it. And this is another reason I love collecting in this day and age. Everybody says, oh, when I was a kid, everybody collected sports cards. Yeah, everybody collected sports cards, but no one collected them like this guy. Not even my brother. And not the other kid, the kid next door who, had way more money. He was able to buy the $5 packs of cards and he'd put them in a shoebox. I'm like, what are you doing? But back in the early 90s, that was your network. That was all you had. So I got really excited when I found Sports Card Twitter and realized, wow, I can talk to the greatest collectors out there. I can talk to the most knowledgeable collectors out there. I can talk to people who have forgotten more than I know. And I think bringing a sense of curiosity and wonder and appreciating what other people have is really the best way to, we say grow, but it's really build a community. Like, there's audience and there's community. Community is so much stronger and so much more fulfilling.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think I always try, because I sell a little bit of everything, right? But obviously, like, my two main things are sports and antiques. And for me, I think it's interesting that a lot of people don't realize how much information and technique and stuff like that can be translated from the sports card world into reselling. And I think that, like, obviously you can resell sports cards, but there's a lot of the back end stuff that you do when you're dealing with sports cards and that can translate into reselling. And I think the point that you bring up about the letter analogy is actually super interesting. I think that people want to resell, they want to just list it and it sell, right? But there's a lot more that goes into reselling and running a business in general, nowadays with the evolution of social media and those sort of different aspects. So I think that that's a really interesting thing, and I think that's something that we concentrate especially on here at Resale Information Network is community. It's like the more that you teach, the more that you learn, the more that you help others, you find others helping you back in return. And it's not just doing it for the return, it's doing it because that's what we like to do, here at Resale Information Network. So I thought that analogy is super interesting.
Yeah.
And I hope people catch that the same way I did.
Raise your hand if you've ever sold something at a loss because you knew the person getting it was the right person. Right?
Of course.
And we don't even care. Like, I almost feel bad saying it that way, because it's so cool when you actually have something that belongs with this person. That's why we're all doing this. Otherwise we'd all just be running, Forever 21s or Old Navies. If it really was just retail arbitrage, right? We'd all be, managers of a Ross, right?
So your story now moving into district. Tell the people now, because a lot of the people in our community, right? Not just like the Reseller Information Network community, but the reseller community as a whole, the world of district is taking, YouTube and reselling by storm right now, because obviously there's a lot of people talking about it, besides just us. A lot of larger channels on YouTube are talking about it. And what happens is, and we've seen this happen over and over again with different reselling platforms and the introduction of different reselling tools and things like that, where, it's a lot of telephone game. It's a lot of, people think they know and they start saying things. And like, we've tried to kind of explain to people like what we're doing, because what we're doing is, we try to push it more as we're building a marketplace and a community. We're not trying to push it like, hey, we have our own, platform and website. It's all us. Like, we're trying to push the narrative of what we believe in so strongly about with district is the building of community and the building of a marketplace and the entire economic growth of district as a whole, not just the one-stop shop. So if you could just explain to people your transition into district, what district is, and what you would want people to understand most about district.
Yeah. Is this the 201?
This is all 101. Don't worry. It all gets bundled into one.
I'm going to start talking some advanced calculus here. No, relationship calculus. Let's go there. No, actually, so Tim, maybe part of this, I agree and disagree with part of what you said. So we'll see where this conversation goes. Super quick background. I mentioned where I was in Los Angeles. I was creating this content for sports cards. Got very lucky that a gentleman who worked or had worked for Snapchat sent me a DM. And I'm the kind of guy who, if you offer me coffee, it's always a yes. Like, I'll meet with anybody. You never know. So he sent me a DM and said, hey, we're building a marketplace. And I've seen the rise of every marketplace. So a lot of my content starting off in like 2015 on was analyzing sales, analyzing trends, looking at things. I had a lot of tweets get a lot of traction that were like, this was unpaid. Look, here's the clear that this was shilled, those types of things, like looking at the problems with certain platforms. And I saw the rise of every platform in the sports card industry and the drops of some of them. And so this gentleman sends me a message, says, hey, we're building a marketplace. Can we meet? And I said, yeah, sure. I'll meet with you. We'll see. Well, he told me about this idea that was district. And initially it was just like, hey, we think you'd be really good at doing this, because the idea is every other platform is built on a stance of the platform goes out and acquires users and uses those users to entice sellers. Hey, come sell over here. We have users. Come sell over here. We have users. Well, if you're somebody with a large Twitter community already, what's the advantage of bringing them all there? Because yeah, they'll see my stuff, but then the second that I'm not live, we've seen every other platform. You get that notification. Guess who's live now? No Pants Breakers of Northern Minnesota is live now. Well, I don't necessarily want my community being stuck somewhere where they're getting poached constantly by that. So they built this site where the idea was community first. What if we build community tools similar to a Facebook group or a Discord channel where you're incentivized to bring your community here because we're not peanut buttering them to all the other communities. They are yours. And it can be a place where your community has more power than anywhere else because of the social selling tools, where, again, someone with a Twitter audience can take your post that you make as a seller and post it to my Twitter audience, or post it to my YouTube, or bring it live while I'm live. Why does live have to be in the app? Why do you have to download the app to watch live? That was a big thing 18 months ago. All the apps, you still had to download them. Now you get all the notifications in order to go live or watch the live. So go watch me live over here. Well, what if you could actually take that live, click a button and have it going to your YouTube, and having someone watch on YouTube, type the word claim and get a message in YouTube. Come on, it's 2023. We have AI. Come on, let's get with it. And that message is the link to the cart with the item, so they can just check it out like an invoice. So they don't even feel like you're moving them somewhere. Like, hey, come over to District. It's awesome. I have this social selling tool that enables me to sell this way. Instagram stories, tweets. We have this claim tool that works on all of them. So sorry, I'm diving really down deep into the rabbit hole. This was what was pitched to me. And me as a community guy who's also so curious, I know that in the sports card world, I've said, oh, I've got this Twitter following. Yeah, but there's people that are bigger than me. And there's people that are bigger than me on YouTube. There's people that are bigger than me on Instagram. And we have different followings. We have different audiences. And I got super excited by the idea of like, oh, it'd be cool if I built this for me. But how do I help this company help those people create a platform? And then even beyond that, like, comics, antiques, tools. Hi, Leroy. Like, how do we make it so that this can actually be like what Facebook Marketplace should be? Because remember, Facebook, again, old enough to remember the actual launch and people writing it on the chalkboards in college campuses. Like, Facebook was a social tool. It was like, get in your community, get to know your community. So that's my super impassioned, like, this is why I literally left that meeting and immediately started thinking, how do I help build this beyond just using it? And here we are, oh gosh, 20 months later, full-time, helping people like the Reseller Information Network create a community that's unlike any other. Like, that's what I want to talk about. That's enough of me. Let's talk about you guys, because day one, your community was so unique. I got super excited by it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reflection of I think what we do and who we are. when Eric brought it to me, I was super excited. And the thing that's so crazy is I told Ivan this is that like I had literally I followed Ivan on Twitter and didn't know like it was Ivan. I just was following him because we had similar interests and I liked what this is on Twitter. And I was like, okay, because I don't follow a lot of my Twitter is based on, my football stuff. But like I follow a few people when it comes to sports cards too. And then I was like, I saw the district information on Twitter once, and I was like, what is this? Because I'm always looking for a different way to sell sports cards, And so, like, I downloaded the app, and I just never got around to it. And then Eric mentioned you, and then mentioned it. And then when I went to go download the app, I look at it, and I'm like, I already have this in my cloud. Like,
yeah, so use it. So that's the main thing is use it.
Yeah, so like that, it was just kind of funny how it all went. And then, obviously, like, I felt like this is something that all four of us could really jump into and do. And I think we love it. There's so many different things about it that I think is amazing. And I think the social aspect of it, the community aspect of it for us is like the largest part, and being able to like do certain things that you can't not do anywhere else. The magic comment feature is like out of this world. My first sale that I ever made on District came through magic comment on Twitter. And it was just like, yo, this is crazy. And then like, when we just did our first like live streams this past Saturday, shout out to everybody who's watching this, who came through and supported and watched. And like Carrie, American Arbitrage, came into the live stream, and Keith, who Vintage Sport Flips, is a seller in our community. And then he's like, he knows that Carrie likes Jerry Stackhouse, and he's like, yo, I just listed this Jerry Stackhouse pennant, and I was live at the time. So I'm like, oh, okay, bam. I knew that too, obviously. And I was like, I got you, Carrie. I pulled up Vintage Sport Flips listing, added it while we were live to the buy it now, and then Carrie bought it. And it was just like, it was so simple, and it was so like, just, it gave you that like warm feeling like, damn, I just did this. I just connected a buyer with a seller while I was live, and neither one of them were involved in this. Like, the power to be able to bring two people together was pretty awesome. And so like, I think we're super excited to like, Cernoch, I'm sure can talk about some of the wholesale stuff that he's doing. And then like Leroy is going to be getting this tool stuff cranking. It's just, it's a lot of fun things going on right now.
I know when I first talked, go ahead, Cernoch.
Oh yeah. For me, I have a great source that I can get clothing from for very, very cheap. So it doesn't hurt me.
Ross.
Huh?
Are you moonlighting as a manager at a Ross?
No.
Far better than Ross, bro.
Yeah,
I know. Sorry, it was just trying to call back to my. This is the dad in
West
me.
Virginia somewhere. Like there's a gold
mine shaft in West Virginia.
Yeah,
that's producing new items. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, it's all thrifted stuff, but like I get it at a really good price, so I am able to push those items kind of in a wholesale kind of manner to where I'm still winning. Because if I go buy, like yesterday, I hadn't been there in a while because I've been listing and Thanksgiving and all that. But I went there, I bought 9 jackets. Okay, now here's the pricing on the jackets. The jackets are $3, no matter what jacket you get. But if you get 2 jackets, it's buy one get one free. So you're literally spending $1.50 a jacket. So you can take risks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, cool, throw in the pile. Oh, cool, throw in the pile. Oh, this is neat, throw in the pile. Well, I don't get to everything in the pile because I'm a one-man show.
Yeah.
So it's like, I maybe out of those 9 jackets, I'll list 4. So I've got 5 hanging up there, or and so I have an accumulation of all this stuff because it's hard to pass up for so cheap. Because I have wholesalers that also come to that come to my basement and it's like, all right, let's I need stuff. Boom. So it's kind of like with District is the same way. It's like, well, I can provide this service on District as well, where we're all resellers. It's like, well, how do you sell to resellers? Well, in my mind, it's like, well, I'm going to wholesale it to the resellers because I've already paid for it. I spent $18 yesterday because I got some other stuff too. 6 jackets and some other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, I sell one thing, it pays. Sometimes if I sell one thing, it pays for my entire week of thrifting at that one spot.
That's awesome.
So it's like, I can give out those deals. Like today, on Tuesday on our live show, Listing and Loafing, I put together a 9 sports jersey set lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know what? We're going to give you this cheaper than Goodwill. $5 a jersey, free shipping, $45. Put it up there. I threw the link in there. Bam, 3 minutes, it was gone. I'm not losing out because I've already made so much money off of those other buys that's just, you know what? Let someone else have it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because people can get really caught up in like, oh, resellers, they're making money, so this is probably a bad deal. It's like, no, when you're able to do it full time and you know how to get deals, which again, you guys educate on your network and your information, even in your district chat, you're telling people. That's one of the things that distinguish you guys from day one. I was like, oh, there's actually advice in their district chat. This is cool. People are asking, other people are answering, not even just you four. Other members that are smart, savvy people are in there helping people. How do I price shipping on this item? How do I, actually sell, I've only ever sold this. How do I sell these? And there's so many people that are actually motivated sellers that, come on, look around, browse, shoot your shot. This past weekend, there was a card that was a sports card that was $122 at auction, ending that day on eBay, that a seller had listed for $100 as a buy it now on district. Not the same, the same card, not the same cert number. Get this. So you think that's a deal, right? Someone went on and offered 50% of the asking price on it, and the seller accepted because the seller was motivated to move it. He didn't care. He wasn't trying to hold out. He was happy because, again, on that particular district. So I said on district, I really should say on Buck City Breaks, because that was the community that it happened in. They know each other. They care about each other. They're absolutely fine in some cases with that. Not every sale is a shave and a haircut. We've had a lot of sales that are over comps, depending on how you look at it. But I'm just saying, like, if you're looking at this and you're like, well, yeah, but I don't know if I can find my stuff there, go check it out, because sellers are oftentimes more motivated than you may realize. And what I love about the various districts is because of the community base, we have way less of the issues, way less, traditional word is slippage, because people know, hey, if I purchase in this district, Tim and Leroy and Eric actually know who I am. And the person I'm purchasing from, they also actually know who it is. And it's handled in a way with buyer and seller protection through a legitimate payment processor, Stripe, huge one. It reduces the friction so much that people on both sides are much more motivated to engage in the transaction, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know for me, like when I first had my first conversation with Ivan, like from jump, because it's kind of like he understood what we were doing as far as we are about the community. I know that there's other people that have other thoughts, like when you start doing memberships or you start using affiliate links. I was like, guys, like that's really just part of it. But I'll be honest, like we give out so much information and try to help other resellers. Honestly, like I'll just tell you this, we've been touting a lot of things for a while. Cernoch is the one who brought, in my opinion, he brought hats to the reselling community, the circle we're in anyway. Mm-hmm. And now the price is super cheap on some hats, but I'm not going to say it's because we gave all the information out for a long time, but it is like I know John Deere used to sell for 100 plus, and now we're at 25. So you can do your own assumption when it comes to that kind of stuff. But for me, when Ivan started talking to me about what we were, we already have a network. We already have a group of people that we're interacting with, and then seeing what this platform is. Because I'll just be straight up. On other platforms, end of the day, you're by yourself as a reseller. If you're selling on any other platform, yes, there's sharing going on. Yes, there's raids that happen. Yes, there's this, but there's nobody right now where I can sell your item or you can sell my item. There's nobody doing that like that.
Well, the
unless
other thing that I'd mention on that is you mentioned on other platforms, and I hear all the time, one of the biggest questions, someone like you that's coming over to district and thinking about starting a community is, well, what if it gets saturated? And we hear that on other platforms. Hey, this category was great, and now it's saturated. There's too many sellers. There's too many of this. Right. Well, so keep in mind, and here's where Tim and I might disagree a little. I love that Tim wants to grow district. The platform is One Stop Shop by RIN.
Mm-hmm.
You are now the platform. So a mega conglomerate may be too spread thin or too busy to really focus in on tools the way they should, or they take a nice pop for granted and they don't come in and actually, create more structure and more support. Well, if I love tools, I love Leroy. Sorry, I'm mirroring the image the wrong way, but and Leroy, I hate that Leroy is always the quietest because Leroy is my favorite. Sorry, guys, to pick favorites. But Leroy, I'm so passionate about this tool community and everybody.
You should have saw him earlier in the basement with Tim.
Yeah, I was at at our live stream this morning. I was at a estate sale, and I was literally like live on my phone with these guys and like 50 people watching, and I'm like crawling through a room that has just like tools and nuts and bolts and everything, just like all like literally thrown all over the place. And I'm like, Leroy, what about this? And it was pretty awesome. I found this one thing, and Leroy starts, what is it called again? It's a dent dolly.
It's an auto body dolly. Yeah.
Auto body dolly.
It just looks like, and it's a fit. You got the Fairfield, something like that.
Yeah,
and that's actually a good one. And yeah, okay, I'll stop.
And so that's what I want. I want So Leroy's going crazy. He's like, get it. And I'm like, okay. And it's like everybody's watching it. It's just, it's just the passion like shining through this morning. It was fantastic.
So here's the thing. I've been selling on eBay for over a decade, even longer if you count like in high school, I did a little bit of it, but like, religiously or as part of my business. I've been selling direct to people through just my Twitter. I've listed on every site that's come out there. Every site has pros and cons.
Yes.
I'm going to get in trouble. I have an eBay label right here. I got to ship a card from eBay later today. No, every site has its pros and cons. What you get with District, though, is I have never, ever had eBay take one of my items and tweet it to their 50,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
And now me, just, regular old Omaha Ivan, because I moved back last year, so I'm no longer Hollywood. The entire podcast just crashed.
I thought you still lived in Hollywood.
No, I'm back in Nebraska. So too many kids now, have to settle down. If I were to sell a tool, I wouldn't trust selling it there because I don't know enough. But if Leroy at least trusts me to be a good fulfiller, I would be so much happier jumping in your tool talk chat and saying, hey, I've got this Fairfield flange auto body denter doodle. And he says, no, it's not a denter doodle. It's a denter dolly. I'm like, oh, great. Thanks. You just kept me from looking like a fool.
Yeah.
I get to list it. Leroy says, hey, this is crazy. I don't understand what this dude's doing listing it for $20. This is a $45 tool. It sells, but I got it for $4 at the garage sale. Win.
Yeah.
And I feel so much more secure with the transaction as well, because I was collecting baseball cards during Project 2020. If you don't know what that means, Google it and have a fun 5 hours reading what happened there. Like, I don't worry if I sell it in the one-stop shop district because I know whoever's buying it knows Leroy.
Yeah.
It's just a different way of doing things.
Right.
And that's why I got so, like I said, I'm passionate about it. I'm doing the job because I'm passionate about it. I could have gone and taken a day job with a number of other platforms over the last 3 years. I begged and fought and clawed for this one because the idea and the concept is so different from anything out there. And what ends up happening, again, here's where I get super excited. Day one of Reseller Information Network's one-stop shop launching, you had people asking for advice and you had other people giving it. That's exciting. And you don't ever get, whoever gets that on eBay. All I get on eBay is what's the lowest you can go. And you start wondering, wait, did I misprice this item? You know, if you get too many offers too fast, or if it sells within 10 minutes, you question yourself. And if it doesn't sell for 10 weeks, you're like, what did I do wrong? Well, it's much more fun doing it this way.
So let me ask you this, because this is what's going to be, like we're obviously trying to, this is an opportunity for us to show people, what we're doing at One Stop Shop and what district actually is. And people are going to ask in our community, they're going to be like, well, why would I come and sell on One Stop Shop? Like how am I going, nobody's going to see my item like they're going to see my item on eBay.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
And so, like, what do you say to people when they say things like that?
So I mentioned I sold an item on eBay. I'm going to get in trouble with the boss. You know what the fee was on that item I sold on eBay? Who wants to guess? Actually, all four, guess.
Well, I know you like to promote high, so I'm going to say 25% fee total.
Oh, that's not a high promotion fee these days.
$6.
Well, what percent though, Leroy? Because people always care about the fee, the percentage fee.
I'll say 12%.
Oh, I wish I could sell an item on eBay at 12%. Eric, any guesses?
I would say 29.
Okay. So it depends on if you consider the fee on the sale price or on the total. Most people think of the fee in terms of the sale price, not in terms of shipping and taxes. In terms of the sale price, I paid a 37% fee on this item. Because in the trading card category, in my experience today, for most cards, like you say, I like to promote high. You got to pay 15% or more as your promoted listing fee just to be seen. If you're listing a Ken Griffey Jr. 1989 Donruss card, there's 10,000 of them. That's an exaggeration. Don't hold me to that. Sorry. Should be exact. I should have Googled it before this. So if you want yours to be seen, you have to pay that promoted listing fee to be seen even. So people say, oh, it has the most eyeballs. So many things get buried there. So many good things get buried there. My Twitter, the content I see daily on Twitter, it's hilarious to me. And I've not yet been snarky. I'll be snarky here, but I won't post it as a tweet. Look at this steal I got. Look at this steal I found at auction on eBay. Look at this, item that ended at 11 p.m. at night. As if that makes a difference in the world where there's so many eyeballs. In theory, and actually the stock market has this thing called efficient market hypothesis, which is the idea that nothing is mispriced because there's so much information and so many people looking at all times that there's nothing that's mispriced. All known information is priced in, and either you are optimistic about it or you're pessimistic about it. And that dictates your buying and selling. Well, that's what I hear. eBay has the most eyeballs. Great. Then why is it that all day long on Twitter, I see people saying, look at this steal I got on eBay. Look at this deal I found. Look at this steal. It may have the most eyeballs. It's also the easiest place to get lost, to get buried, to have to out promote someone else. Maybe you're okay with that. Again, I sold an item there. I'm okay with that for certain items. Maybe there's a much more, again, I would not list a tool on eBay now knowing the one-stop shop exists because I have no knowledge of tools. I have no idea about that. And I love the idea of this community. Similarly, we've actually got a really high dollar card coming up at auction in a few days in one of our districts. Well, you're actually going to get district tweeting about that, posting to Instagram about that, Instagram stories. We had a card last year that we actually were able to get attention from PSA on this item at auction. When has eBay ever sent sent an item to PSA to be featured, right? So you actually get more attention on your items in some ways because of the people that are paying attention and the people that care. So it's a balancing act. You know, there's still people that should sell their item on XYZ platform instead, or there's still people that'll have more success there for those particular items or that style. But also I find it more rewarding. I find it safer. Here's the thing. In sports cards, I've probably had about 200 to 300 sales on eBay this year. I swear I've had more issues as a seller there than the district platform has in tens of thousands of transactions this year. More times when I legitimately think somebody tried to scam me than we saw on district. Shipping, of course, that happens with every platform, you know, like wrong item. Yes. And it was fixed. But as far as those like, wow, I think this person's actually trying to get me. I have had more than district the platform.
That's crazy. that's something I think about too. Because I was like, I know this is an oftentimes discussed thing on the RIN is how people come in and they do talk about horror stories about scam, that kind of thing. I know for me, I just started listing on Grailed a while back, and I actually emailed or I sent Cernoch a text message. I was like, hey man, my first item, I've had like 5 guys message me trying to get me to give them a phone number or, hey, let me talk to you about this. Hey, I'll pay more than what you got it listed for. Hey, I'll do this. I'm like, dude, I don't know about these guys, who they are.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. And that's not Grailed's fault. I'm sure Grail is great for certain items. All I can speak to is a thing about district that I absolutely love is that community side, is the backing, is the support, is the engagement. And again, the fact that I've seen items, it's also a really funny balance. Every seller wants to know, like, you know, oh, well, so I have to price everything under eBay. No, we've had a lot of items sell above eBay comps, a lot. I usually use that for sports cards because that's the simplest. But even just this past week, there was a live stream and I was comping dolls and glass marbles and seeing them end higher here than on the artist direct site. The funniest thing is, though, districts, because they care about their community members, don't like advertising when they're overselling. So sellers always want to know, but it's like, well, I can't exactly send out a tweet that says, you realize this ended $20 above comps, because then the sellers or then the community owners are like, hey man, someone in my community bought that as well as sold it though. So it's a funny catch-22. Leroy, I feel like I cut you off, which is gonna irk me for the rest of my week.
No, you're good. Quick question. So you had mentioned about, and I'm gonna have to dive more into this with either you or the guys about the whole sharing with Instagram. I'm big on Instagram. Actually, you're not big as a
big user. You like it?
Yeah, I use Instagram for my regular everyday phone conversations. More than my regular, but now, so you can share. So there is an option to share to my Instagram stories, and then to other stories. Is that?
Well, to your stories.
To my stories, yeah.
Yeah, but you can share other people's items. So if I went and listed my dent dolly, you could say, hey, look what Watch the Brakes just listed. Looks in good condition. This is an awesome item. A lot of people are looking for these. And you can post. And in the post that you create, you just say, reply with claim, and it's yours to purchase.
Now, real quick. So say for instance, I'm not friendly with Billy Bob's auto repair on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And he does a lot of car repairs, and he has a big following.
Yep.
I can send him I might get lost in the mix, but I can send him a message through Instagram saying, hey, look, I have this tool, this auto body tool, in One Stop Shop? Could you share it on your stories?
Well, he would have to be, in order for him to share someone else's, only community owners or admins can actually have the Instagram, I should say, for claiming. Anybody can share anything, but in order for the automatic claim to work, it has to be through an account that's connected and has ownership of that item or administration privileges like the community owners do.
So what would be a cool case like what you're talking about, Leroy? Is okay. So for example, if you guys aren't already following us, make sure you guys are following us. One Stop Shop by IRN on Instagram. So what can happen is so I post your tool to our Instagram account, right? Directly a claim option from our One Stop Shop to Instagram. You could share, in essence, Billy Bob could share that post in his story. So now somebody can click on that post in his story. It would take them to the One Stop Shop Instagram, where they would go to the post, type in claim, then they would get sent a direct message, which would send them to a checkout on One Stop Shop, and they could purchase the tool.
I'll do you one better. Do you guys like making money?
Yes.
No.
Hey, listeners, do you like making money? Yeah. Leroy, man of the people, does not. Listeners, do you want to make some money? Billy Bob's Automotive Shop, do you want to make some money? So District is actually funding a referral code for all users. So this is not just for the community owners. If you share a link, you can append your referral code to it, and it's a little complicated to talk about here. Just hit District Support when you visit district.net. There's an Ask District Support channel in the RIN. You can share that item with your link. The person who buys it will get $5 off if it's their first purchase, and you will get $5 in site credit.
There you go.
So Billy Bob's Dent Shop can actually share an item at a discount and get a little money to spend in the RIN.
And every one of his new customers that use that gets $5. So in a month, he could have $50 free credit.
Yeah, $100. Could spend that $100 and get another $100. So, Tim, it is so it is capped at $100. Okay, $100 at any time. Just as a heads up.
Not like 7-Eleven points where you can have 17 million.
Yeah, so I have like the Guinness Book of World Record right now for most 7-Eleven reward points in the world. So Leroy likes to rub that in on me. I actually used some 7-Eleven points not too long ago. I'll give you guys an update on my my grand total of 7-Eleven points right now in a second. So what is next? Like, what can you, I know you can't spill all the beans, right? Okay. So this is two things right here. First thing is if you were working for, like, say you were a member of One Stop Shop, right? What would you tell the people? Like, what would be your pitch to the people to either become a member or a seller or a buyer of the One Stop Shop? And then the second part would be, what's next in coming for District that you guys are excited about, that you're actually allowed to tell the general public about?
Yeah, so it depends a little on the audience. And this has always been our biggest challenge, is we actually have like 3 different audiences. We have creators and community builders like you that are one audience, because we want you to come on and build a community. We've got sellers, and then we've got buyers, and then we've got just community members. So the first thing, let's start at the bottom. You can come, if you just like the information these guys have, think of this as a 24/7 place to chat. So you may be watching this, it's Friday, noon, you're on your coffee break or your lunch break, and you're watching this, having fun. And you're like, that's cool, but when do I ever get to talk to these guys? Well, guess what? Tonight at 10 p.m., you can actually jump in the RIN and ask a question about something hanging on your wall. And I'm pretty sure someone will answer it. That's how fast and how many active community members there are already. If you are a buyer, like I said, there's fun stuff to browse. There's things that will surprise you to browse. Cernochs hats are so much fun to see. Like, you never know what you'll see there from your childhood and say, oh yeah, $20, I'll pick that up. $15, I'll pick that up. Cernoch told me how much he's making. I'll make an offer and see what, sorry, I'm putting you on the spot, Cernoch. Or, hey, it's my first, I haven't purchased anything yet. I get $5 off my first purchase. That only works on buy it now. It's not on offers. So Ivan will give me $5 off of this to buy it from Cernoch. Great. Win-win, right? If you're a seller, I'm actually shocked, and I get a little bit passionate about this again. Like, if I was still in the days of selling, which I need to be selling way more. This is 1/18 of what's on my desk right now, as far as cards go. Like, it just goes on and on and on and on. Got slabs over here. Yep. Like just random soccer stuff. Rabbit hole. If I'm a seller, I am literally having a platform willing to give my buyers $5 off and me $5 bonus to spend on new inventory. Like, yeah, go list 20 items and tell your friends, hey, you wanted to buy this from me? You can get it $5 cheaper using this code. And I'll even cut the price by a few bucks because I'm getting $5 extra. Like, there's a great arbitrage opportunity right now while we have this referral program. May not always exist. So get in and list your items and start marketing your items and tell Tim, hey, look at these cool items. Tell Leroy, look at these cool items, and have them marketing for you, because your regular community can start getting money off. So there's a couple different levels of messaging, but that's what I would say first and foremost. And then above it all, like I said, literally, if I spot a tool at a garage sale, or I see something that I'm trying to, you know what? We have 2 hammers. Through some accident, we have 2 hammers. Nobody needs 2 hammers.
Leroy needs about 12. Leroy got about 24 hammers probably. And Leroy got a hammer for every nail.
I know. I was given Leroy the opportunity to point out how ignorant of a handyman I am, because I'm like, they both look like hammers. One's probably a ball peen and the other one's like, a mallet. I don't know.
We should know.
Doesn't he? Oh man. But like, again, I would so much rather sell that here than somewhere else. So that's the why would I, what would I tell people? There's a lot of different reasons to use it. And it's fun. That's the biggest thing. It has to be fun. And you guys have done a great job of making it fun. And not just you guys. I love Otts Antiques. I love Bear Mountain.
Buck Mountain.
Buck Mountain. Sorry, I'm getting my animals confused. You think I don't know hammers? I don't even know animals. Buck Mountain and Vintage Sport Flips has so much cool stuff. Like, it's fun being in your chats. And that was something, honestly, you guys started right at a time. You mentioned a lot of other YouTubers are getting into this. Well, what is different about the RIN? And I can tell you from looking at every chat that's out there and every group that's out there, the speed with which noob questions or seller questions or ID questions or I'm looking for questions get answered in your community is mind-blowing. And I love it. I absolutely love it, because as a reseller myself in many ways, if I see somebody ask a question in chat and nobody jumps in for 4 hours, I'm like, what? Are the other people here to sell or what? Like, but in your community, the people are different than any other community. And that's why there will never be a saturation problem, because I will come to your community for you and for the people that you attract and the people that you build around you and build with you, because that's unlike any other community. And I really love it. So it's almost like, we haven't had a call this week. So this is my little, call to action for you guys. Remember and know what makes you special is literally nobody has the same vibe and energy that you do. And that can't be replicated. Nobody has the same vibe or energy as any of the other platforms either. But if I love your vibe and your energy, this is where I want to be. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
And so what can you tell the general public about what to expect? What is coming? It doesn't have to be a whole list. If you want to just give us one little, nugget, It's okay. Or if you want to give us a 4-piece with sweet and sour, we'll take that too. You just, give us one nugget you're allowed to let the general public know.
We just don't want a half-eaten nugget. No half.
Like the ones I get from my kids.
I thought you were gonna pull up a nugget just now. Half-eaten nugget.
We're just hanging out around here.
One of those dino nuggets, just for Tim. One of the dino nuggets.
So it's tough because we've shipped so many new features in the last 2 months that I'm like, my brain is overwhelmed with those. Like now live streams can be scheduled and viewed after the fact. That actually wasn't the case. We relied on for a long time on you integrating to your YouTube or your Twitch. Now they live right there. What I actually want to see is more people doing that content in the platform and in the chats and in the community. Because to me, like the biggest feature shipping soon is actually discounts and incentives. Well, wait, no, that's not actually true. So there is a really cool feature that exists today, and forgive me, designers, is not cool today, but it exists. But they're really working hard on making it cool, and I'm anticipating that coming hopefully before the end of the year, that it'll be cool. And that's the leaderboard. So if you go to district.net/one-stop-shop, you'll see a number of tabs. Some are marketplace related, some are chat related. One says leaderboard. It's an incredible community ranking algorithm that bases your total on things like how many days have you been in chat active? How many live streams did you tune into? Did you place any bids? Not did you win, did you place any bids? Also, did you buy anything? Did you list anything? Did you sell anything? How much did you spend? How much did you sell? These are all aggregated there. And each of those individual sectors is on a Z-score, which is a sliding scale. So I just told you how cool it is. But the problem is it's so cool, like it's so complex. None of that is very transparent right now. So you just look at it, you're like, well, wait, how is so-and-so number 1 and how am I number 27? Well, we are very close to gamifying that, making it more of an XP type system where it's like you place a bid. Hey, guess what? You just got 2 rewards points. If you place 5 more, you'll hit a bonus and get 20 rewards points. Even if you don't win the item, placing the bid will give you, points and climb you up the leaderboard. And then our communities will unlock rewards that way, where it's like, depending on how big the overall community is, you could unlock $100 in rewards or $1,000 in rewards, or your top 20 could get rewards. And we've already seen this in a lot of sports card districts. They've still been using it, even though it's complex and not as clear. To say, hey, this month, at the end of the month, the top 15 spots get 2 teams and a free break. Well, that's going to be expanding wide in the very near future. So that's one more reason to be involved here, is rewards for all levels of activity and really reinforcing the community side of like, oh, it's really cool. This person chats every day and hangs out in the lives, and they're going to qualify for $20 in hat credit from Cernoch, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely are looking forward to doing too, and I think it increases engagement and increases activity. And we all know that as resellers, engagement and activity helps increase sales. So it'll be a good opportunity for us to give back once again to the community, to everybody that participates and stuff like that. So definitely stay tuned for some of the one-stop shop sort of give backs for the leaderboard. And Cernoch will constantly remind us that he is number 1, as he did about 20 minutes ago.
I'm number 1 in community. Cernoch's number 1 seller right now.
We're gonna have to just wipe you guys out.
I know, right? Ineligible.
Yeah.
I need to be marked that too, so we can do that.
And so
receiver downfield.
We know you're on a tight out, so if there's anything that you want to say to the people, let the people know where they can find you too, because Ivan is active. He has his own marketplace too, and like I said, he's on Twitter. He's a fantastic follow, especially if you guys like sports stuff. I thoroughly enjoy his content. But yeah, tell the people where they can find you. Anything else you want to let the people know, feel free to speak the word.
Yeah. So again, district.net/one-stop-shop. I'm in you guys' chat. So find me there. My Twitter is Watch the Breaks, all one word, Watch the Breaks. So you can find me there if you love sports content. But otherwise, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm literally doing this because I wanted to, because the site and its structure spoke to me so much. And what you four are bringing to the table and what I'm already seeing amongst your sellers and your users, that's the exciting thing here more than anything I can say. So yeah, check out the one-stop shop.
Thank you, Ivan. We appreciate your time, bud.
See you later.
Thanks, Ivan.
We're gonna let Tim give us an out.
All right, it's time. The show is coming to an end. We want to thank each and every one of you guys. We appreciate all the support and all the love. Most importantly, we hope that you gained a little bit of sense of community today from myself, Leroy, Eric, Cernoch, and our special guest, Ivan. Make sure you guys head over to the One Stop Shop. Become a member, become a seller, become active in the community. Ask those questions every single time we do a YouTube show. We remind you, fill the comment sections with questions. We are here to help you. And as always, don't forget to tell a friend about the One Stop Shop by RIN. Boo, 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 boo.